YouTube, what's going on? Appreciate y'all watching my videos. What's going on? Hold on, let me turn this APU on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? I got a couple hours before I want to pick up this load. I'm out here in I'm in Savannah, Georgia. I'm out here in Savannah, Georgia. What's going on? Appreciate y'all watching the video. What's going on? So this video, I just titled this video part 2 of are rates really that bad? This is part 2. Yeah, I'm in I don't know why I can't get this phone to stay still. Okay, yeah. Can't get this thing all janky. Whatever, man. I'm gonna leave it alone. What's going on? The rate's real bad. Ghost Rider, what's going on? Trucker B. Team Prince. Hey, man, Team Prince, I've been meaning to call you, man. What's going on? Last time I talked to you, you had a little fleet going. You had about 3 guys running with you. Send me your phone number, 404@gmail.com. I don't know if I got your phone number saved, but Team Prince, send me your phone number, man. 404trucker@gmail.com, man. I've been meaning to call you and talk to you because I got some questions on hiring guys. I got some questions on leasing on guys. So as a small fleet owner, it's funny, but you know what's so funny is that Team Prince got his authority after me, right? And he said he watched my videos and I inspired him to go get his authority. And I think he got within a year of getting his authority, I think he hired on 2 or 3 guys within the first year. And so I kind of feel left behind because I'm like, man, you know what I mean? But I'm real proud that he watched my videos and inspired him to go and go get his authority and then start hiring guys. But yeah, Team Prince, man, he got a hell of a story. Team Prince, he went through a lot of growing pains to get to this point. I'm real proud of you, man. I'm real proud of you. he had a couple bad trucks. He bought a truck and he had a couple issues buying a truck, and he was leased on to this company, and he was going back and forth with this company, and this guy he was running for was janking him around with this truck. Oh man, but hey, I ain't mean to tell all your business, but I'm just saying. The point I'm trying to make is that a lot of guys who watch my videos, it's like because it's good and bad, right? Because I got guys that watch my videos that get inspired to go and do big things, and see, that's the guys I want to touch. I want them guys. But then you got guys like Wit LLC and a bunch of other trolls that's downplaying the authority game and don't see the benefit in getting the authority. I'm not trying to act like I know everything and, my way is the best way. But at the same time, it's like, you don't even have to get your authority and build a fleet. That's fine. But if you just, even if you somebody that don't even have your CDL and you watch my videos and that inspire you to go get your CDL, go to a truck driving school just to get a truck driving job, I salute you on that, because I'm that person that was making $10 an hour. I went to college, you know what I mean, and even through all of that, like, trucking gave me an opportunity. Trucking has given me a whole lot of opportunities that I feel like I wouldn't have any other way. So, going to college, getting a degree, isn't the golden ticket anymore. And I'm not saying trucking is a golden ticket, but I'm saying, so the fact that I make these videos and guys, like, it's a handful of guys that watch my videos that I keep up with, and they're moving on to like bigger things, and I'm really proud of that, because I'm really proud of that, man. But yeah, so sorry about that. The video just took a sidetrack, but right. Big Face is another one of them guys. And see, me and Big Face kind of go back and forth, because Big Face helped me to Big Face is one of the guys that helped me to get my own truck. Now, he probably don't realize he helped me to get my own truck, but when I was at Snyder, Big Face had already stepped out and got his own plate for his truck, and so we linked up that way. And so I kind of feel like Big Face inspired me, I inspired Big Face, and so that's all I want to do, the camaraderie, and the camaraderie, man, and I just I want to network with guys that's got good positive attitudes and making moves. That's all I want to do. So but yeah, so anyway, this video, like the last video I was talking about, what I was talking about in the last video, I ought to race that bad. Now, I don't want to keep talking about the same old stuff. However, the rates, are not the best rates in the world. And, it's tough right now. The rates are tough. And I'm not going to lie and sit here and act like, the rates are killing it and the rates are just out of this world. These lows out here are paying great. But however, you can still make it, okay? You just got to watch your expenses and watch the type of freight that you're booking, okay? For example, you don't want to book a load that's paying $1,500 that picks up on Monday and delivers on Wednesday. You don't want to book a load like that. I see a bunch of loads like that. I see loads on the board that pay $1,000 and the load to go maybe 500 or 600 miles, but the load is a 2-day run. So essentially for 2 days on $1,000, you're only making $500 a day. Okay. And so it's not necessarily saying that, okay, the rates are not the best paying rates in the world, but however, you got to find areas that pay well. You got to find areas that link loads with other loads that keep your daily gross to the truck high and your rate per mile as high as you can keep it, and at the same time keep your deadhead down and keep your in relation to deadhead to actually running the load, you got to keep all that stuff under control. Now, depending on who you are, I talked to a handful of guys. There's some guys that absolutely hate deadhead. Like, by all means necessary, I know guys that just completely avoid any type of deadhead, right? But sometimes deadhead can help you, you know, because like I deadhead all the time. I have no problem deadheading because, you know, like I've said in plenty of my other videos, I'm a big fan of using a calculator. I use a calculator to run my truck. That's the only thing that I use. I would say 80% of my truck is calculating numbers, and the other 20% is emotional. Because there's just certain things I don't want to do. I don't care how much it pays, right? And there's just some things I'm not going to do, and there's some things that's just not favorable to do to run my truck. So the thing is, it's like, okay, that's the number one thing. So, for example, if there's a load on the board, if there's a bunch of loads, let's say I'm scrolling through a bunch of loads, either on the DAC board, Convoy board, Uber Freight board, the C.H. Robertson board, Coyotes Logistics boards, TQL board. You just scroll through there, right? You scroll through. Now, some of the loads have posted rates, some loads don't. And say they're like a bunch of loads. Say there is a load that's, you looking on the board, there are like 10 loads on the board, 5 loads on the board. Okay? You scrolling through the loads, and like all the loads close to you only pay $600, $700, $800, right? Right? However, there's a load, like say all the loads that I just said, you know, they're like 10 miles away, 15 miles away, 20 miles away, right? And so all the loads that's close to your city that you're delivering to, all those loads deliver 10, 15, 20 miles away. Pick up 10, 15, 20 miles away. $600, $700, $800, $900. However, there's a load that pays $1,100 and $1,200, and you have to deadhead 100, 120 miles to get the load. That's 2 hours of driving, right? Now, to run those loads, you got to actually run the load from shipper to receiver. You got to run, let's say 350 miles. I run loads like that all the time. 350 miles with 120 mile deadhead. So you got 350 plus the 120, that's 450. That's going to be 470 miles to run that whole load. Now, if you do, let's say the load pay 1,100. 1,100 divided by 470. That load, with all the miles included, is $2.34 a mile. That sounds good. Now, that meets all my criteria for running a load. That meets all my criteria. The load is more than $1,000. The load is I can legally run the load according to my logbook, right? And the load, the appointment time meets my criteria. It's got an AM appointment. I got an 8 o'clock appointment delivering the load. To pick the load up, I got an open window to pick the load up. So to pick the load up, the load picks up between 8 and 5. That shipper is open between 8 and 5. Perfect. Okay. And so I'm thinking like, okay, if I deadhead 120 miles to get this load, run the load 350 miles, I'm gonna be all into this load a little less than 500 miles. I have no problem with that. But then I find loads like that all the time. Right? But then now the other side of this could be loads that are close to you, like 10, 15, 20 miles, all the loads that's close to you, 10, 20, 30 miles, even 40 and 50 miles. The best thing you can find that's close to you is, I don't know, the highest rate you can get was like $800. So the difference between 1,100 and 800 is almost $300. Now I know some of you guys will be like, man, the deadhead. Okay, fine, right. But like I said before, I use a calculator to run my truck. I don't use emotion. That the worrying about the deadhead is too much emotion. You getting too emotional. It's business. And so I get my calculator and I do 1,100 minus the 800. That's $300, right? That's a $300 variance. That's a $300 difference. You know, that's $300 more that my truck gets, okay? So you deadhead 120 miles to get the load, right? So 120 miles, how much is it gonna cost me to make that extra 300, right? How much is it gonna cost me? So the deadhead 120 miles, my truck gets 7 miles to the gallon. So I'm gonna do 120 divided by 7.5 miles to the gallon. Okay, the truck is gonna burn 16 gallons to run that load. So the price for fuel, I just paid $2.70. I pay like $2.70 a gallon for fuel. So I'm gonna spend about $45 to run that to deadhead. I'm gonna spend $45 to deadhead. $45 to deadhead. I keep saying that to make sure, you know, you guys understand what I'm saying here. $45 to deadhead. $45 to deadhead. That's what the calculators say. $45 to deadhead. Right. So if you do remember that $300 extra that we're getting to deadhead? So we do the 300 minus the 45, we're gonna make an extra $255. $255 more dollars to deadhead. $255 to deadhead. 255 extra dollars to deadhead. 255 extra dollars to deadhead. So If you find loads like that Monday through Friday, if you do that often, you know, times 5, if you run 5 days a week, that's an extra $1,275 in a week. An extra $1,275 in a week. An extra $1,275 in a week to deadhead. Y'all copy? I know some of y'all ain't gonna get it because I know some of y'all are immune to deadheading. Like some of y'all are just so against deadheading. It's just like, oh my God, a deadhead. Like your truck gonna blow up or something. I don't want to make this video about deadheading. This is about rates, okay? And so the point is that guys get caught up in the emotion of doing or not doing something. And another thing, we're just talking about deadheading, right? Okay, deadhead. Put that to the side. What about working on the weekend? I talk to a lot of guys, they don't work on the weekend. They don't like to work on the weekend. Like, they're guys that like to run their truck Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday. That's it. That's all they like to do. If it ain't happening on Monday through Friday, they ain't doing it. And so I get guys call me up, email me. I was like, hey, man, you know, I ain't making that much. And you start talking to them, they ain't really running. I say, okay, why don't you run a load on Saturday? I'm looking at the load board. They got a load picking up, running on a Saturday. I see loads that run on the weekend that pay $1,500-$1,600, right? The load to go 600 miles, 700 miles. That's a good weekend run. So if you're not making enough money, why don't you expand your legs a little bit? Open your legs a little bit. Stretch your legs a little bit, right? Work on Saturdays. Deadhead. So let me explain something to you. There's a shipper in Atlanta that drops loads on the board all the time on the weekend. It's Procter & Gamble, beer, Anheuser-Busch. I'm trying to think. Anheuser-Busch, Procter & Gamble, LG appliances. I'm trying to think of all these shippers on the weekend that drop loads on the board on the weekend, right? It'll be these loads paying anywhere from $700 to $800 in Atlanta, going 100, 150 miles, right? But the thing is, you'll run that load, but then you don't have a load coming back. But if the load is paying $700 to $800, say the load paying $800 to go 150 miles. And it's like a midnight appointment, or it's an early morning appointment. You can afford to run that load and deadhead back home and be home Saturday afternoon. Okay? Nah, man, I ain't running that load to deadhead. Okay, let's do some math. I know y'all don't like to do math in business. It's like insane to me that you guys be wanting to get in business, but you don't want to use a calculator to help you run the business. So I don't understand that, but that's fine. So let's do 800 divided by, well, let me explain it to you first. So say the load goes 150 miles, right? You deliver the load, but then you got to deadhead back to go home. Now, I know some of you guys don't go home, so this probably don't apply to you. But like with me, I like to be home every weekend. And so in Atlanta, it'll be loads going up to Chattanooga for $700 on the weekend, on a Saturday or Sunday. I seen a load on the board paying $1,300 on a Sunday night. This is on the Uber board. The load was paying I think it was $1,300 or $1,400. It was a load of paper rolls coming out of the load was coming out of Noonan, Georgia. The load was going up to Chattanooga. That ain't but 110, 120 miles. That ain't but a 2-hour ride up to Chattanooga. The load was paying $1,400. I couldn't get the load because it had when I seen the load, it had to be picked up within 30 minutes. I wouldn't be able to make that load in time. But it doesn't matter. I'm just explaining that it be loads on the load board that pay very well. So sometimes deadhead isn't an issue. Don't matter. But anyway, what I'm talking about is work ethic. In this video, I'm really talking about work ethic, because so when the title of this video says, are the rates that bad? Well, my question is, what are you doing to offset these low rates? Are you being flexible? Are you being flexible enough to work around the low rates? That's the point I'm trying to get here. And so let's go back to that $800 load coming out of Atlanta, going to Birmingham, going up to $800 load going down to Savannah, $800 load going to I'm trying to think, going to Greenville, South Carolina, Spartanburg, right? I see these loads all the time. They pay anywhere from $700 to $800, you know? So if the load goes 150 miles, 130, 120 or so miles, you can afford to run that load and deadhead back home. I do them all the time. I deadhead back to the house. And some of you say, oh, well, the deadhead. Okay, fine. So if I run the load 150 miles and deadhead back, that's 300 miles to run the load, quote unquote. I say quote unquote because the deadhead, right? Some of you guys, I know some guys, oh, the deadhead, fine. So if the load pay 800 and you divide 800 by 300, what is that? That's 260 a mile, 266 a mile. It's just plain arithmetic, you know? And I'm sure a lot of guys, they probably look at that load and be like, no, I ain't running that load. I can't find a load coming back. Well, if you find a load coming back, great. If you don't, I still deadhead home. Because even to deadhead 150 miles, it's gonna cost you 150 divided by, my truck gets 7 miles to the gallon, gonna burn 20 gallons, times $2.70 a gallon. 20 gallons to run the load, you burn 20 gallons, and you multiply that times the fuel price. I pay about anywhere from $2.60 to $2.75 a gallon. So I'm gonna average it at $2.70 a gallon. So it's gonna cost me $50 to deadhead, $54. You can do the math on your own calculator if you're watching this video. And so to deadhead 150 miles, it's gonna cost me $54. To deadhead 150 miles, it's gonna cost you $54. To deadhead 150 miles, it's gonna cost you $54. I'm pausing because I need that to register. Okay, I need that to register. For the last couple weeks, I've been doing about 4,800 to like 5,600 for the last 2 or 3 months. That's what I've been doing. Okay, if I see a load on the load board, delivering on a Saturday, picking up like with a 10 p.m. appointment, 11 p.m. appointment, a midnight appointment, I'm gonna run that load. I'm gonna pick that load up. I'm gonna run it to wherever I need to run it to, 100, because the load has to meet my criteria. The load has to meet my criteria. And so the point is, okay, for this video is saying, okay, are the rates that low? My response to that is like, what are you doing to offset the low rates? Are you going home on the weekend? Are you working? Are you pulling the extra load to offset that? Are you managing your truck better to offset the lower rates? Did you cut out any expenses? I mean, it's all kind of things you can do. And so yeah, so that's my point. And, you know, because sometimes deadhead can be your friend. I mean, I really don't look at deadhead. You know, I don't care. Deadhead don't mean nothing to me. I just look at the rate and how much it's paying. And so if I do all the math involved with that load and I divide it and it comes out a decent rate per mile, I'm gonna run the load. That's just all there is to it. And to say, are the load rates that bad? I don't know. I've been doing anywhere from 4,800 to like 5,600 for the last couple months. So except that month when I replaced the motor mounts on that on my truck, except that week, you know, the when I replaced the motor mounts on this truck. So, but that particular week I didn't run. But on weeks that I run my truck, I mean, I'm doing okay. So my thing is, like I've been watching YouTube videos. My thing is like, okay, the rates are that bad. So I'm thinking like, okay, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know? And I think the whole thing, the whole issue is guys are not running. Guys are just not running. That's all it is. Guys are not running. They got a truck and trailer and they're just not running. You know? They're just not running. That's just all it is. And guys be acting like, you know, this is the first time in history that rates have, you know, slowed down. This is the first time. This is the first time ever in history. You know, it's the first time. Like, this is trucking, man. It's business. You know, rates go up and down, up and down. Get ready for it. You know? The eclipse, what's going on? I know I'm way behind on these comments. I'm way behind, man. The Trucker's Life said you must first break even, then you make a profit. Absolutely. And in order to find out what those numbers are, you have to use a calculator. Simple. It's just simple math. It ain't calculus. You know, it ain't chemistry. You know, it's not physics. It's just plain old math. Okay? I mean, it's plain old math. So, I mean, what are we talking about? So, I mean, I don't, you know, plain old math. It's plain math. That's it. And like, y'all know I keep a spreadsheet on my truck. Y'all know I do. And so I can tell y'all what's exactly going on. And so the reason that I feel this way, the reason that I can sit here and feel this way and be, I'm really confused, to be honest. I'm really confused on what guys are talking about here when we're talking about rates. Because the reality is most guys don't keep track of their revenues, and they're not keeping track of their expenses, and they're not keeping track of how they're running their truck. So they have no idea on whether or not the rates are that damn bad. And like I said in my last video, I said, I'm down 26 cents a mile compared to last year. I'm down 26 cents a mile. So because last year I ran 90,000 miles last year. So if I do 90,000 miles times 27 cents a mile, I'm gonna be short $24,000 this year, roundabout, because it's 27 cents a mile. So I'm gonna be down 24,000. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna be down $24,000. Now $24,000 is a lot of doggone money, but when we're talking about in the course of a whole year, when we're talking about 52 weeks in a year, so we do 52 weeks out of a year, so we do 24,300 divided by 52 weeks. You're talking about $467 per week that the rates are effectively affecting me or affecting most guys out here. So if you're doing like 5 loads a week, if you do 5 loads a week, you do 467 divided by 5. Okay, essentially on each load, effectively you're losing $100 per load, which is easy to make up, right? You can make up $100 a load. Just when you call on a broker on the load, ask for more money on the load. You might not even get a whole $90 extra on that load. You might get 20 or 30 or 40 or $50 extra on the load. But at least you tried. Okay? There are other ways to make up that difference in income. Okay? And so, I mean, I ain't even do the taxes on it. 24,000 with taxes. I mean, if you're doing your taxes right, I mean, you may not be seeing that. But the point is that we got to be doing our P&Ls. We got to be doing our spreadsheets so we can really know the true numbers of what's really going on out here. Because everybody with the fear mongering out here, run around like with a chicken cut with their head cut off, run around like a chicken with their head cut off, acting like as if the industry is that bad. Man, it's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. Mr. E. Holland, I don't know what you talking about, man. There go Mr. Witt. I'm not even gonna respond to Witt LLC because he's gonna get me off on the side track. I'm gonna just say this with LLC. This comment in Witt LLC, he said, can you get $4,000 to $5,000 gross lease on though? That is an open that is the context of that statement is not proper, and let me tell you why. Because most guys are leased on, right? When most guys are leased on, you're charged a percentage. See, the difference between me having my own authority, when I make 5,000, I get the whole 5,000. It won't be 5,000 minus 10%. Then you actually gross 42, 43, 4,400 or 4,500. No. When I make 5K, I take the whole 5K and then I pay my expenses. That's the difference. Now, can you get 4 to 5K gross? Yes, you can. But can you grow a fleet being leased on? No, you can't. I mean, come on now. Can you grow a fleet? Yeah, you can go to Landstar and grow a fleet under Landstar. Yeah, you can go to Traveloco and grow a fleet under Landstar. But what are we really talking about? Are you trying to get a job, or are you trying to grow a business? And with LLC, you're not trying to grow a business. You're trying to get a job. You can't scale that. Okay, you can't scale that. You always limited to the carrier that you leased on to. And I already talked about this. Okay, I already talked about this. And so my growing pains of having my authority for the last year and a half, like, I'm not bothered by that. I'm very satisfied on where my growing pace with my own authority at this point. I feel like I'm growing at the rate that's comfortable for me right now. And so I know next year I'm not going to be in this same spot. Okay. And so that's the difference. And so I don't care about the lease on stuff, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. So we're talking about, you're on my channel and I'm talking about growing a fleet, and I'm trying to do bigger things, and like we're talking about different things, and it's kind of it's stupid to be even having this conversation. Why even watch the videos if the stuff that I'm talking about doesn't pertain to you, you know? So that's the deal. And so try to get some of these questions, but that's all I'm gonna say to with LLC. Backstage said, "Did you get rid of your wife? That's a big expense." You funny, man. No, I ain't get rid of my wife, man. I ain't do that. This is why we need math in school. That's right, man. Hell, a person can go from Noonan to Bessemer for $600 to $700 a day, and deadhead back to our cell to get to get paper to East Point for $350 a day. That's what I'm trying to tell them. Silence. That's what I'm trying to tell them. Now those loads are not there all the time, but they're pretty abundant. They're regular loads. So because that's just what it is, you know? And so my whole thing is like, what are you doing to do better? You know? What's the max you would deadhead? I really don't look at deadhead, Mr. E. Hawley. I really don't look at it. It ain't no max that what I deadhead. And see that mindset, Mr. E. Hawley, is gonna get you in trouble. Always putting these limits and all that business don't work like that. You can't say, I would never deadhead 400 miles. I would never deadhead 400 miles. Well, the thing is, I've deadheaded 400 or 500 miles. I've done that. But you know what? I deadheaded 400 miles to get a load that paid $3,500. Like if you look on the board and there are no loads, if you look on the board and like there's a load that paying $1,000, there's a load over here paying $800, $900, $1,200, $1,100. But then you look at this load that's 400 miles out, that's got a 400-mile deadhead. The load is paying $3,500. And if you do the math, and all of that, you gonna make more money than any of those loads combined. I would deadhead, and that's just running a business. That's just running a business, straight up and down. You know, like putting all them limits on stuff. I'm always looking for making money, making profit. That's it. It ain't about the deadhead. I mean, it don't matter. It's how much money you making, how much profit you got. That's it. It's just straight up math using the calculators. Okay, this load here paying this much, this load here paying this much. I'm gonna run this load because all these criteria meets all my criteria, so I'm gonna run that load. I'm gonna make more money. Simple as that. My facial expression, yeah, I gotta do that. I have to dumb stuff down because guys make things overly complicated for no reason. Guys make things overly complicated because it's like guys sitting out here acting like the rates are so bad. Guys out here acting like the rates are so doggone bad. And the rates are not favorable, but I mean, you still gonna make it, man. Right. Trucker's life. Yeah. Too many see that as a negative only. That's right. Because you got a lot of guys that been trained by big mega fleets. Now, see, big mega fleets like the Snyders, the JB Hunts, they can afford to look at deadhead on their spreadsheet. So, like, let me show you how fleets look at data on a spreadsheet. So, When a big fleet has got information, an operations manager, a fleet manager, a logistics coordinator is looking at their equipment and their capacity, right? And so when a big fleet is looking at all this data, they got, okay, deadhead is up this week and deadhead is down this week, and they got all these numbers. It's just like with the stock market. They're looking at their business. They got deadhead, they got employees paid, they got maintenance, they got fuel, they got all this stuff that a big fleet is looking at. These big fleets are looking at fractions of a percent, fractions of numbers to save even a few dollars, right? See, now if you're a big fleet like JB Hunt and they got 10, 20,000 trucks, right? They can afford to like cut in certain areas where a small one truck fleet can't afford to cut. Because if you're just one truck, you can't afford not to deadhead because you don't have enough revenue to offset not deadheading. You need the revenue. Okay, you need the revenue. You got some guys out here. Let me break it down to you like this. You got some guys out here that boast about. You got guys out here boast about not. Okay, you got guys out here. I'm trying to get the thing to. So you got guys out here that would not burn fuel to run a load when if they burnt the fuel, that would make them more money. If y'all got what I'm saying here. It's like, for example, if somebody came to you with a business opportunity, they say, hey man, you would make $100,000 more if you did this. These guys wouldn't do it. A lot of guys wouldn't do it because they're scared to put their own money up. They're scared to even spend the money for the opportunity to make the extra $100,000. That's how a lot of guys think. Like, nah, man, I ain't putting all that fuel in my truck. Let me tell you something, man. You in trucking. You need fuel. I fill my truck up all the time. I keep my truck full. I always keep my truck full. When I go home, I fill my tank up. I fill it up. But then depending on who you talk to, a lot of guys, they'll be like, man, nah, man, I don't fill my tank up. I wait till the next week to fill my truck. That's a waste of time. I'd rather have my truck full to the tank and be ready to run the loads. That's how I think. That's how my mindset is. So when I come to the yard to get in my truck, I got a full tank. Whatever loads that I see on the board, boom, I can run. But see, I don't like having a quarter tank, half a tank of fuel, then have to go stop and get some fuel. And before I go to the shipper, then you running the risk of being late. No, I keep my truck full. I keep my tanks full, man. Always keep my tanks full. Because like fuel for the trucking business is something that you have to have. You can't run a truck without fuel. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? No, man, I don't feel my like guys are just like, you got some guys that just it's like, what are you saving for? Like, you gonna have to burn the fuel this week or next week. It don't matter. It don't matter. What are you saving your fuel for? Man, I don't put all that fuel in my truck. But all of that is just what I've been saying. When it comes to the rates being, the quote unquote rates being low, well, my question is the rates really that bad, or is it you? It's just you. It's you. Most of the time, it's just guys being lazy. They don't want to run the truck to come out here and make money. It's like, it's guys scared. It's almost to the point guys are scared to come out here and work hard and make money. That's what it is. Guys are just so scared What are you being scared for? Put the fuel in your truck. It's like guys be scared to spend the money to put fuel in their truck. Nah, man, I just put 50 gallons in there. What you talking about? Just putting 50 gallons in there. Spend $300-400 and put the fuel in your truck so you'll be ready to run loads, man. You're gonna have to burn the fuel anyway. You burning it anyway. Like since I've been in trucking, I've spent $35,000 on fuel every year. Not putting fuel in your truck ain't gonna stop you from having to burn fuel. In 2016, when I first got my own truck, I spent $35,000 on fuel. 2017, I spent $35,000 on fuel. 2018, I spent $35,000 on fuel. And this year, I'm expecting to spend $35,000 on fuel. So you're not gonna save no money. You're not. It's like, guys, it's a mind fuck. It's a mind fuck. And that goes to show that I be saying in my videos all the time, guys don't keep a spreadsheet. They don't keep a P&L. Because if you know you're gonna spend $35,000 on fuel in a year, what are you not saving nothing? What are you saving? You're gonna have to burn the fuel to put it in your. You're gonna have to put the fuel in your truck to run the loads. Unless you're going on vacation and your truck gonna sit at the yard for a week or two, put the fuel in your truck. I keep my truck full. I keep my truck full. My truck is at 3/4 of a gallon, right? 3/4 of a tank right now. I keep my truck. When my truck gets to half of a tank, I'm looking for fuel stops to fill my truck back up. Unless I'm going to an area where I know the fuel is dirt cheap, I'll run my truck all the way down to like 1/8 of a tank, 1/4 of a tank, and when I get there, I fill it up. Get that fuel cheap, man. That's me. That's just me. It's time management. You know, I think it's just time management. I don't want to be stopping every day to put fuel in the truck. That's just stupid. You're gonna burn it anyway. I don't want to be stopping. I fill it up and I'm good for like a couple days. So I don't have to be stopping. So if I get that load, like say for example, I get that load where I can't stop and I need to run straight through and I don't got time to stop, see, that's gonna help you later to make more money. That's gonna help you later on when you got that load that go 400 miles and you got 7 hours and 35 minutes to run that load and you can't stop for fuel. You and I both, all the guys in this watching this video, y'all know that to stop for fuel, it's gonna take you about 30 to 45 minutes to stop for fuel. Because you're gonna get to the truck stop, it's gonna be a line of trucks, you gotta wait, you gotta fuel your truck up, you gotta go in there and get your receipt. And by the time you get back on the road, it's 30 to 35. It's sometimes, in some cases, almost an hour to put fuel in your truck. Sometimes you just don't have that hour. Sometimes you gotta run the load all the way through to get the load on time with the risk of running over on your logbook. All this, what I'm talking about, goes into that fact of, okay, what are you doing to offset the low rates? You know, don't settle. Don't settle. You know, you got to be creative in this business. I know Renaissance, but I'm just saying, Renaissance say rates ain't that bad for a folk. Yeah, trucker life, I know, man. I know I missed a whole bunch of comments. I mean, I was running my mouth. Usually take money home to keep the wife and girlfriend for if you wondering what some people do with their money. Well, like I said way back in one of my other videos, it's a complete package. You got to prepare to do this. All this stuff is a prep to get ready to do this. Okay? If you got a wife or a girlfriend that don't have a job, you and your wife and girlfriend gonna have to have a conversation. Y'all gonna have to have a conversation, because you can't go and get your authority with 2 kids at the house and a wife that don't work. That's very, very hard to do that. That's very hard. And so I can tell you from my experience, it took me time to do this. So like my wife, she has a job, okay? Now, she's a government worker. She makes decent money, right? And so if I was out of a job, we could make it just on her income. We could make it an event, an exchange event. And see, you need to prepare two heads in order to succeed in life. And like, you got a lot of guys out here that's scared to get married, right? And like, oh, I don't want to get married. But well, it's in your best interest to get married. Now, don't just marry anybody, but you gotta pay attention on who you going in life with. Okay? So if you think about getting your authority, well, and you got a wife, I would hope she got a good job, right? I would need her to have a good job, because it's for both of our success that if she have a good job and I got a job, then we can both grow together, right? But then if you got a wife at the house and she ain't got no job, you're just gonna be a rat in the wheel, man. You're just gonna be running in circles. It's part of the whole Beyonce, Jay-Z ideology. Okay, Jay-Z and Beyonce combined, they're worth about $1 billion, maybe $1 billion and change. But without Beyonce is worth about 200, 300,000, right? I mean, 300 million, 200 to 300 million. Now, Jay-Z is worth somewhere around 700, 800, 900 million. Now, combined, they're worth over $1 billion. They're worth, and so in a lot of Beyonce songs, she quotes, talking about, it's $1 billion. It goes down when there's $1 billion on the elevator. It's just some quote like that. That's the kind of quote you want to be able to say. That's the kind of quote you want to be able to have if you talking about getting your authority. I don't talk about this too much, but that's part of the whole package. Having your home bills low, having little to no debt. Pay attention to the relationships and the people that's around you, and you stepping out here doing business. Okay? You want a circle of people. That includes your brothers, sisters, your wife, girlfriend, your friends, your homeboy. All these people need to be cheerleading you on. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. But if you got people in your corner just talking shit about you, oh man, you start that trucking business. Why you go buy that truck? And every time you leave to go get in that truck, you got a wife, girlfriend, your brother, sister talking shit. Oh, you always gone. You ain't never home. You need somebody that's supporting you. It's part of the whole package. The rates and all of this, all that pressure is part of the whole package. You have to wonder what the person is doing with their money if they don't want to keep fuel in the truck. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of guys, when I be talking to some guys, they act like I be listening to some guys, and I just be shaking my head. Because if you got a penny pinch to put fuel in your truck, that tells me you ain't making no money. You ain't making no money. That's what that's telling me. Even if the conversation comes up, oh man, fuel is high. No, it ain't. You in control of your truck. When you go and negotiate a load, ask for 25, 50, 75, $100 more on the load. Typically, a broker doesn't mind adding $50 to a load. I tell brokers all the time, it's like, if I call on a load that's paying $1,000 and he'll be like, yeah, we're trying to move this load for $1,000. I was like, well, Is it possible that you can you do 1050 on it to pay? Because sometimes they'll be so rigid on the rate. They'll be like, nah, man, we got to do $1,000. I was like, well, I got to pay an invoice fee on this load, and I'll do, okay, my factoring fee to factor $1,000 load is $29. It'll be $29 for me to factor $1,000 load. So what I would do, I would call on the load and I'll ask the broker, it's like, hey, I know you want $1,000 on this load, but to help with my invoice fee, can you bump it up to $1,050, $1,000.50 or something, 1050. I don't get it all the time, but I get it a lot. You just need something to negotiate when you're on the phone. So when you're on the phone with a broker and you notice the fuel went up 1 week, $50, $100, ask for more. Every load that you call on, ask for more money. That's it. Ask for more money. Oh man, I just bought some steer tires, man. Can you put an extra $100 on there? I mean, it's all kind of things you can. And a lot of times when you tell the broker specifically why you want them extra money on the load, they have no problem giving it to you because they know how it is when you run it. They know how it is when you run in the truck. It's like, hey man, my kids, my family, we're going on a vacation next week. You think you can put an extra $150 on the load? I mean, you can. It's all kind of things you can do to negotiate. It's just negotiating. We just talking about negotiating. That's it. We just need a story. That's all. We just need a story to sell. That's it. It's just a story. It don't have to be true. You can lie. Say, hey man, you don't want to go too far with it, but you want to make it sound believable, right? And so you want to say something like, hey man, I just dropped my phone yesterday. I just dropped my phone climbing out the truck yesterday, man. You think you can add $100 onto the load so I can pay for a new phone? I mean, you get all kind of things. I do that all the time. You just need a story to sell. And so when we talking about fuel and expenses to run a truck, man, it is all kind of things you can do to make more money with your truck. Do you like to find cheap fuel at the pump price versus fuel discount? I do both because sometimes I can find a fuel stop that's cheaper than my fuel discount. So I do both. I mean, a lot of times my fuel discount is within a few cents, so I don't make a big deal about it. But sometimes when it's like an extra 10 cents off, like I do it. I do it. It's the amount of money off just have to make sense. Because sometimes if the fuel price is like 3 cents, that ain't a bunch of money. You talking about $2-3. It's not really not that much money. Right. 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 Trucker's Life said the myth of you must be an owner operator or lease is the only way to earn a good living is wrong. Not everyone needs or can run a trucking company. No, it's not wrong. It's just a matter of fact. I'm sorry, Mr. Trucker's Life. You know, it's all in the numbers. It's just a matter of calculation. It's all in the numbers. There's no feeling, emotions, and argument of, it's fact. It's pure fact, Mr. Trucker's Life. That's it. Because if you get your own truck and trailer and you gross $200,000 a year and you net maybe 100, if you net $110,000 a year and you live on like 30 or 40, that means you can invest $70,000. Not too many trucking jobs allow you to make $100,000 a year. Not too many of them. It's a handful of them, but it's all in the matter of calculations. Okay? On a long-term basis, an owner-operator is gonna net in a career owner-operator is gonna net way more money than a company driver. That's just a fact. That is a bona fide fact. You can put those numbers down on a piece of paper. Simple. Okay? Because at the end of the year, an owner-operator who's got his own truck and trailer an owner-operator with a paid-for truck and trailer will net almost 3 times as much as a company driver. Almost 3 times. You can take that money and invest it in a growth stock mutual fund, and after a career of running your truck, after 30 years, you will have $1 million in the bank. As a company driver, you can't, I don't want to say you can't do it, but it's very, very difficult. And the numbers don't justify it. The numbers don't make sense. And if you can prove to me and show me some numbers where a company driver can invest faster than a damn owner operator, I would glad to see that. But from my calculations, I haven't seen that. A company driver making 50, 60K a year, in some instances, some company drivers can make 70K a year. It's not gonna outpace an owner operator with a paid for truck and trailer. You're just not gonna do it. You're not gonna outpace an owner operator's own truck and trailer. You're just not gonna do it. An owner operator makes more money in a week than a company driver does in a whole month. I mean, the numbers are right there. The numbers are right there. That's it. You can't argue with the numbers. It's like guys be trying to argue with fact. This is fact. The numbers are right there. Like you calculate, okay, if an owner operator paid for a truck and trailer who ran for 20 years, made $200,000, right? Times 20 years, an owner operator in a 20-year career, just say 20 years, would gross $4 million. Gross. Okay? That's just $4 million gross. Now, if he netted, and the thing is, time is against you. Time is against you. You got to do it early as possible. If you 25 years old, go get your own truck and trailer, and you truck for 20-something years, you going to have some money in the bank. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. And you can't argue that. I know guys want to argue that because you feel some type of way, but the fact is there. The numbers are right there. And so say you gross $200,000, and you profited $120,000. 120,000 times 20, that's 2.4 million. 2.4 million. 2.4 million. It's almost double. Not to mention, we're just talking about one truck. We're not even talking about scaling your authority. We're not talking about hiring contractors. I ain't even talking about that. But just the simple fact you got the opportunity to scale that. You got the opportunity to scale that. And so say you got your own authority and you start hiring on guys, right? And you're able to make $1,500 a week. If you're able to make $1,500 a week, not driving the truck, just by running a small fleet, that thing is on autopilot. You got all the automation already built into your authority. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on getting my authority as automated as possible, so I can go on a cruise for a month and my authority just be clock, just run it. That's what you want. You want scalability, and you looking for scalability and automation. You want this thing to be automated. You want to be able to be making money in your sleep, go away for a month, come back, your authority still running. Okay? So if you're making anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300 a week, $1,400, $1,500 a week, running a small fleet of 10 trucks, and it's all automated, that means you free up more time to go invest your time and energy in other things. You could be doing a side, you could be working a whole nother industry, a whole nother side business. You could be doing a whole nother business while your fleet is on autopilot. You making $1,500 a week. That's $6,000 a month that you making because your authority is automated. And you go over here, you building a whole nother business. You got real estate. You went and bought a hamburger franchise. You went and did something, right? You got 10 trucks. You doing $100,000 a week. You doing $100,000 a week gross. That's $400,000 a month. You can take some of that money and invest it into another business, and it just compounds. The fact is in the numbers. I'm sorry. You're not gonna win that argument. Not today. No, you're not gonna win that argument today because the fact is in the numbers. It's not arguing. You can't argue fact. I know some guys don't want to do all that. Some guys feel like they don't want to get a truck and trailer. That's fine. But the fact is in the numbers. An owner-operator does outpace any company driver. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry, man. I'm just sorry. I mean, the argument does come into play whether that owner-operator is managing the business properly. That's a different conversation. But when you just put down raw numbers on a piece of pad and paper and run them through a calculator, owner-operator is gonna way surpass any company driver. No. Come on. Y'all gotta stop this. It is not a myth, it is a fact. These are fact, real numbers that you put down and you calculate. That's a plan that you can put down right now. If you're 25 years old watching my videos, at 40, 45 years old, you can be retired you can retire as a millionaire, maybe $1.5 million if you get out here and truck. If you get out here and truck and run your business. But most guys ain't gonna do that. We just a bunch of lazy people, so we ain't gonna do it. But the fact is in the numbers, so you can't argue that. You know. I'm way behind on these comments up here. Jeff said, no, you don't. As a company driver, you're buying that truck, driving the company, plus they're still making a profit, plus they get paid for the asset. I be trying to tell them, Jeff, you got a lot of guys that absolutely don't, they don't get it. They're lost. I feel sorry for them. It's just, they don't get it. Like, you got guys don't understand economies of scale. That's what authority gives you. Economy of scale. That's what authority gives you. Owning your own truck and trailer gives you control. Okay? Like for example, if you're a company driver or if you leased on, you got a company telling you where to buy your tires at. Let me say it again. You got a company telling you where to buy your tires at, how to buy your tires, how much to spend on your tires, which mechanic shop you should go to. So if Snyder tells you to go to the Freightliner dealership and they gonna charge $5,000 to put in a clutch, well, if you know a guy that'll do it for $1,500, you can keep the $3,500 and keep that in your bank and invest that and pay the $1,500 and get the work done. See what I'm talking about? Not to mention all the knowledge, all the information that you gain from building that business, and now you can take all that information and put it in another business. In a 15, 20, 30-year career, no company driver ain't gonna outpace no damn business owner. That's just come on. Ron Mexico said, on average, an old equipment will cost more to maintain and will. Do you have any like factual data, or you just talking? Because I feel like, Ron Mexico, you just talking. No doubt, an older truck will have some maintenance on it. But I'm talking about an owner-operator that's technically inclined, that don't mind working on his own truck, that don't mind doing some of the work himself. Because if you got a bigger goal in mind, all that maintenance stuff, it don't mean nothing. This feels small. It's part of the process. You know what I mean? And so basically, you trying to find a reason not to do it. That's essentially what we're talking about. Okay? And so all of this is just part of the process. Eventually costs more than a new truck. A good company driver can find an 80 to 100K job doing hazmat and doubles. No, that's not the average truck driver. You and I both know that. The average income for a typical truck driver is about 50 to 60K a year. The average truck driver don't make 80 to 100K a year. Most of the guys that's making 80K a year are the guys at like UPS or a mail carrier or something like that. And he's been there for 30, 40 years on the edge of retirement. No truck driver out there making 80K, right? That's right out of truck driving school. To make 80 to 100K as a company driver, you talking about a seasoned truck driver that's been at a quote-unquote company for 30 years. He's been at FedEx for 30 years. He's been at YRC for 30 years. He's in the union. He's been there for 30 years. Those are the guys that's, at the top of the pay scale. But that's as a whole, right? As a whole. That ain't the average truck driver, and you and I know that. Come on now. You and I know that. Come on now. You can't be speaking, you can't be talking about out of 2-3 million truck drivers, 5 guys that make 100K in the trucking business as a company driver. It's probably like 5 guys in the whole industry. But the average guy, which is statistical data, that's factual data that you can pull up right now, the average truck driver makes about 50, 60K a year. Average company driver, 50, 60K. That's the average. And that's what it is. But the average owner operator is something different. Now, the average owner operator is 6 figures. average. There's some owner operators taking home 150. Okay, you got the household mover guys, the guys who do the Mayflower and the moving guys. Them guys taking home 200,000. These guys, the car haulers, they're grossing 400,000, taking home 2, right? But the average box drive van company driver is not making 100K a year. That's far in between. Y'all need to cut this out. Y'all forget who y'all talking to. I've been in this business a long time. I know what I'm talking about. I don't looked at all the statistics from a whole lot of different information. And so you're not gonna sit here and tell me, oh well, you got truck drivers that make 80, 100K. Yeah, I know that, but that's only like 5 or 6 guys in the whole industry. Y'all are tripping. That's what I'm trying to tell them backstage. But you got guys on here that's basically, they trying to look for a reason to not go get a truck. That's just all it is. You just got to face the reality of when you commit to getting a truck, it's going to be some growing pains and it's going to be some work. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just say you don't want to do that. But don't be trying to come up on my videos with invalid information that ain't true. Talking about guys making 80 to 100K a year. That's not the average guy. That's at the top 2-3% of the industry as company drivers. And you know that. That's the top tier. Chemical hauler company drivers, gas haulers at the top tier are, top 2-3% of the industry are making that kind of money. The average truck driver is not making 80, 100K a year. No, don't even try that. Yeah. I know, man. I'm making too much sense for him. $14 truckers say food service drivers make 100K. I could believe that. Cisco, Sigma, and then McLean drivers. Yeah, they up there. But they do a whole lot of work though. They work a lot. They work. These guys are doing. They working a lot. I can't even get to the bottom of these comments. Y'all done. $14 truckers say everyone in the Northeast over 80K. You got to make 80K living in the Northeast. You got to make 80K, man. Come on. Cost of living up there, a hole in the wall apartment in the Northeast is $1,500 a month. Like a house that I live in, my house in Atlanta, with a garage and all that, probably be like $1 million, $500,000 in the Northeast. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about food service guys. Yeah, I know food service guys, they do pretty good, but not the way that y'all talking about. Not the way that y'all talking about. You know, that's only one sector in trucking, you know, so everybody can go and get a food service job. Not everybody is willing to do the work that's involved for food service. Going to restaurants and offloading, you offloading all that, all them pieces of, you know, onions, and, you know, like, come on, man, y'all got to be real with this stuff. And like, here's the deal with food service. I know a handful of guys that used to work at Cisco. The turnover rate at Cisco is high. 1 minute they'll hire a whole bunch of people and fire a whole bunch of people all at one time. And so it's not stable. You know what I mean? So to say a 20-year career, you can have that 100K a year's food service job for like a year or two, and then they'll fire everybody. But hey, I'm gonna get off this video. We got an hour and 20, almost an hour and 30 minutes on here. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, man. I know backstage. I know they don't get it. They don't get it. Wage owners don't get it. You know, like I wouldn't want to, as a W-2 person, I wouldn't want to make 130K as a W-2 person. That's just because you're gonna spend like, let me see, you in what, 30% tax bracket? You probably 30% tax bracket. You're gonna spend about 30-40 grand in taxes. You're gonna spend 30-40 grand in taxes. If I was making 130K, I would buy a rental property every year if I made 130K as a wage owner. Because I know you got so many tax benefits and you can save that tax money. You can spend that $40,000 on a rental property instead of giving it away to the government. Like with this truck, as a business owner, I can afford to save up and buy a rental property every year. I can save up about 30-40 grand every year and buy a rental property, right? But if you're a wage owner, you better be investing in something, because it's a lot of money to be spending in taxes. But I mean, but yeah, like the turnover rate, you know, it's the turnover rate with them food service at one particular food service place I know is Cisco. So they, you know, like they'll hire a bunch of people and fire a bunch of people. And, you know, I know guys over there that make $2,000 a week, $1,800-$1,900 a week. And they're working, man. They're working. So it ain't easy. They're working. It's deserved money. They earned it. They be dog tired when you get home. But hey, let me get off here. I appreciate y'all watching my videos, man. I'll see y'all next time.